This name shouldn't be that hard to pronounce. Give it a try. Are you confident with your pronunciation? So are all these people.
Diemaco or Colt Canada, it's the Diemaco SFW. It was manufactured by Diemaco.
Diemaco up in Canada.
Was produced by Diemaco.
The rifle's manufactured by Diemaco.
Diemaco was
Diemaco C7.
Diemaco.
Diemaco.
Diemaco were bought out and renamed Colt Canada Diemaco.
Diemaco.
Diemaco C8A1.
It's been a minor topic in the Canadian gun world for a while. No one pronounces this word right, and only pedants seem to care. Well, as much as the team scoffs at this topic, I'm that pedant. Let's put this mystery to bed once and for all, and maybe learn a little bit about Canada's much-beloved military supplier. Let's dive into Diemaco. There, just saved you the whole video. But if you want to know why, let's get into the history. Canada's military was rearming. We were still running the FAL, which is a perfectly fine rifle, but in the 1980s, American military influence permeated all facets of Canadian culture. NATO had just accepted a standardized intermediate cartridge, the 5.56x45mm. Being a member state, Canada had to fulfill its obligation and align new weapons procurement with the round. That meant new and modern rifles. Two weapons platforms contend, the Belgian FN-FNC and the American M16A2. Despite being very similar in features, the Canadian Department of Defense chooses the American AR-15 platform as its winner. It's now 1985. The Small Arms Replacement Program, or SARP, is done, and the rifle needs to go into production. That's where Diemaco begins its enduring legacy. Diemaco began life as a new military defense manufacturer under the umbrella of the aircraft parts manufacturer DevTech, which itself was spun off of an automotive parts company called Magna International. The name is based on the function of the company. It makes dies. So you take the first bit of each word and smush them together. Die-making company. Diemaco. This industrial Matryoshka doll allowed Diemaco and its president, Gunter Bauer, to get a foot in the door with small contracts from the Canadian Department of Defense. By 1977, Diemaco needed a larger shop floor and now employs 175 workers. The expansion is a success, and the Canadian military contracts keep rolling in. 4 years later, in 1981, the new 30,000 square foot factory at 1036 Wilson Avenue was again expanded, and 25 more workers were added. By 1983, there were whispers about who would get the lucrative $230 million rifle contract for approximately 80,000 C7s, the designation of the Canadian M16A2 with modifications, and the 10,000 FN Mini-Me clones designated the C9. A further $107 million for spare parts and miscellanea were promised by the National Defense Minister Jean-Jacques Blais. Diemaco finally found its place in Canadian society, and they would enter the layman's lexicon without any pronunciation instructions. In 1987, the C8, a Canadian-modified M4 carbine variant of the M16A2, also entered production with 1,600 initial units. A 1991 ad in the Ottawa Citizen really hammers home how integral Diemaco has become to Canadian defense. The sentence, providing our forces with a unique training rifle, as well as our evolutionary development of the C7 rifle, was totally true. The company helped transform the maligned M16A2 into a reliable favorite for boots on the ground. So what are the differences? Starting with the markings, the rifle is bilingual, so no up on the front sight. The M16A2's safe, semi, and burst functions are also changed. The guys at Diemaco didn't care for the complexity of Colt's burst system and found it unnecessary with training. The markings and functions read S for safe or sûreté, R for repetition or répétition, and auto for automatic or automatique. The C family of rifles has hammer-forged barrels, increasing their toughness and theoretical longevity. The furniture is a nylon polymer, so the plastic doesn't crack in extreme cold. A unique rail system was added to the top receiver for later variants of the design that allowed for the use of the iconic Elcan C79 optical sight. At the front, the Triad tri-rail was added for flashlight mounting and other accessories. Some other small changes, like the forest green plastic instead of black, were purely cosmetic, but remain a much beloved character point. There was an attempt at a cheaper magazine for the rifle, but it was short-lived. The thermold waffle-style magazines weren't up to the rigors of daily use, so the American aluminum magazine stuck around. You can still find the waffle mags floating around occasionally. If we missed any other details, please let us know in the comments below. Our point is, the rifle was seen as a nicer, different alternative to the American parent. That's probably why, in 1994, after some changes to exporting laws, Diemaco got its first big international arms contracts. The militaries of Denmark and the Netherlands used the C7 in a slightly modified capacity, and just like the Canadians, the Dutch and Danish soldiers that used it have a fondness for the rugged little rifle. Smaller contracts for special forces in the UK and Norway further solidified the rifle's reliable reputation. This is also where we get the answer to the searing question: why can't anyone pronounce this name correctly? Well, the most satisfying answer we have is the polyglot hodgepodge of its users. It's a bilingual rifle from the get-go, so you have the English and French pronunciations. Then add the Dutch and Danish use, and suddenly there's 2 new pronunciations that are added to the mix. The official true pronunciation would be cleared up on the Canadian Gun Nuts BBS forums by Colt Canada's sponsored post in 2014. At the very top, it's all laid out. Diemaco. In 2000, DevTech, Diemaco's parent company, was acquired by Hero, the manufacturers of the Apollo 11 landing gear and a large aerospace supplier to this day. Colt successfully purchased Diemaco from the conglomerate in 2005, and the little name that no one could pronounce was changed to Colt Canada. The iconic D marking was replaced with Colt identifiers, but lives on with fondness in the hearts of anyone that used the C7. So when you're talking about rifles with your friends, now you know. It's Diemaco. Thanks for watching.